this is what you get when you get shareware. This menu is already built in. You can modify it and change it or start from scratch with a new one. I've added one called Computer Chronicles submenu number 8. If I press number 8, I go automatically to that menu. On this menu, I have several options already set up. I thought I'd show you the HDR.
Using optical character recognition. The file receiver can then change and manipulate the document using any one of over 20 word processors.
Out of that decision process, you've still got to evaluate those criteria in a sense.
That's what's called decision.
CEO of Cricket Software. Next to Barry is the president of Cricket, Dara Muldoon.
Dara, we talk.
At the center's classroom, charting historical trends and stock price movements is central to the curriculum.
Beginning with Esther Dyson, software expert.
Is generally credited with having invented the computer technique called morphing. For his invention.
And Soft PC from Insignia Solutions of San Francisco. This is a totally...
A HyperCard program here called, a series called Amanda Stories. This...
Voters expected to dominate the 1990s. The results were hardly scientific.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by CompuServe, featuring an online reference library, Wall Street reports, at-home shopping.
Around the y-axis. This is a zoom.
These are typically effects that
so instead of running at 1 megahertz where the 2C originally ran at, you are running at 4 megahertz operational mode. And this is optional to the user. So you cold boot the machine and you're coming up in 4 megahertz. And then you can do a keystroke selection and go into 1 megahertz
so those
operational.
programs are now, when you think of add-on boards, you tend to think of the PC-compatible world, but of course with the Macintosh 2, you've got slots, and people are coming out with add-on boards for the Mac. Wendy Woods has a report.
According to new air safety rules mandated by the FAA and Congress, almost all commercial aircraft will need some form of onboard collision avoidance system within 5 years.
To store the memory-intensive color images. 24 bits per pixel requires 24 times as much memory as a monochrome screen. Lotus has finally released Agenda, the PC answer to HyperCard. It's billed as a personal information manager. Early reviews are mixed, some saying it will fall flat on its face, others saying it's new, different, and exciting. The version of Agenda which is shipping is quite different from the beta version shown at Fall Comdex, with improvements in the user interface and some other added capabilities. As with HyperCard, software developers are already at work creating Agenda applications, much like Stackware. Gary Kildall, and Gary, I'm playing this new game from Spectrum Holobyte called Tetris. The interesting thing about it, it's the first game software sold in the United States.
A Lotus 123 file made on an MS-DOS laptop to a file that can be used in Microsoft Excel on the Macintosh. And whether there's a genuine and immediate need to upgrade the hardware.
A, B, C, D, F, G.
Suppose you wanted to add some artwork to that screen now. How would you do that?
It's drawing automatically.
John, that's great. John, Nick, thank you very much. And that's our look at personal CAD programs. Hope we'll see you here again next week on the Computer Chronicles.
In the Random Access file this week, Apple has unveiled its long-awaited Macintosh Portable. It's touted to be a full-fledged...
But he's optimistic.
The trick is to learn the process, because that won't change, just the quality will change in the future, and that's the important part.
Joining us in the studio now is Heidi Turnipseed.
Any of the old cards that you have in an AT are not going to have 32-bit performance. And to get
I would suggest
they were
10 points for that.
Let me go through the rules here. There are going to be 4 rounds in this computer bowl. Round 1, round 2, round 3. You see how easy this is? And round 4, right? It's very simple. In each round, there will be 2 kinds of questions. There are toss-up questions worth 1.
What was the name of the play?
Later, we're looking out the windshield and at the dashboard of a hot car. You control the accelerator, you shift the gears, you see the cars going past you in your rearview mirror, and if you can't keep the thing on the road, you end up with a cracked windshield. Although you can play it with the keyboard, it works better with the joystick.
And when that's going to arrive as far as consumer products?
I think maybe end of 1988 is what I'm hearing, and the CDI player actually connects to this.
Microsoft.
That's correct. Okay, the score is the East Coast 335 and the West Coast 230.
This wrinkle's a bit longer here. Wrinkles are just a typical thing you might want to get rid of. Moles, teeth and the sort. Okay, there's the wrinkle here. Now what I want to do is I want to select some gray level area from the picture, move it on top of it, and that's doing a pretty good job. But over in here, you can see there's a slight difference.
You can see the surgery.
Right, so I'll undo and, oops, go over.
Case and slip a card in and disrupt your buses and the whole line of problems. You put this attaches to the COM port on your PC, and if you're in an office, you just move it from PC to PC. Whoever needs the fax card, they get the fax card. I think it's they are the Porsche 911 Turbo, the Lamborghini, the Corvette, the Lotus Turbo Esprit, and the Ferrari.
Let's see how we're doing now. The score is West Coast 2, East Coast 1, and actually that's all right. 2-1, a little. Those neighbors on the top.
Years, the American large corporations have gotten rid of 3 million workers. A lot of these people are still providing services for those corporations, and they're independent professionals now, and they're using Macs. And if the Mac gets in the corporate world, it seems like this is an ideal way to come in with that independent fellow. Jerry, do you get that in any of this?
Certainly the Vice President.
But they still require human assistance to identify a scrawled 6 or a sloppy 7.
For example, right now.
A graphic interface for the 64 and 128 that features pull-down menus, icons, and windows. The new operating system opens the door to some very sophisticated applications, like a spreadsheet called GeoCalc, and GeoFile, a database with user-designed forms.
This Mac tax has been out for quite a while. What major changes have you done for this year's tax?
Now I think 550 cards that have been built for the microchannel, and but very few of them use this particular feature here, which is the ability to support more than one processor in a system.
What's the open box here before you go on, Chip?
This is a Model 60 with a test tool built by Ernie Mandisi of Boca Raton that was built in 1986 to demonstrate to our satisfaction that the microchannel could support a number of processors. On this card,
the next thing I'll show will be how Metastock Professional uses some trendline commands in the same macro state.
Okay, so you're taking a look at technical analysis.
Yes,
now,
correct. Texaco.
And running this technical analysis.
The disk.
Sure. One of the reasons you might partition a disk is to have different file formats.
Okay.
Maybe you want to mix Pascal files with Protos files, things like that.
So, for example, the television quality graphics, digital audio, the quality of compact discs, along with high-performance interactive computing systems. You add all that up, and that adds up to quite an exciting experience for the consumer. And we feel that CDI is the first piece of hardware to combine all those attributes into a single player.
Continue with a history question now. Many people believe that ENIAC was the first electronic digital computer.
Okay.
This is the picture.
Okay, that's pretty good. And that is what? What did you create this for?
This was for a bulletin board that I knew the guy that was running it, and he wanted to.
With a particular project, for example, just take one book. If you have art and text, the person who is actually assigned the project has to do all of the jobs. He has to not only come up with a manual, but he has to manage it.
This program can edit contrast and brightness in real time. In this case, I'm tweaking.
However, after 4 years now, after 4 years' worth of Computer Bowl battles, the score is in fact tied. 2 victories for the East so far, 2 victories for the West. So tonight is the rubber match. And who is going to win tonight? Will it be the West? Yeah.
The high price commercial spread.
The shareware programs that are now available are equal, if not better, than a lot of the commercial programs on the market, and hundreds of dollars less when it comes to registration.
That would take advantage of the VGA?
Sure, that's one of the big things with VGA is the number of colors on screen at one time. And
Go into your bonus round. This is not a standard punch card, but we thought you'd like to see it. It has round holes in it. It's a UNIVAC card. Go ahead, Will.
Thanks, Chris. This 4-part bonus round is all about punched cards, like the one Chris is holding up. For 5 points, how many columns does an IBM standard computer punch card have?
80. Indicator, and it will come up to the first screen, which
of Nestor Incorporated of Providence, Rhode Island.
Michael, you have a device here that apparently recognizes handwritten characters, is that correct?
That's correct, it does do that.
The obvious question is, why would anybody want to do that rather than just using a keyboard for input?
Well, graphics or bits of information instead of characters. The way the product's organized is there are menus across the top, and you can get at those menus with a mouse, which many new users find easier, or you can use commands that are familiar to Lotus users.
Mike, it seems as though there's been a proliferation of CAD packages, particularly in the last year or so, which is about the length of time that FastCAD has been out. Why is this? Is this the faster processors, more memory? What's the reason for this?
Okay, we have the main menu of the program here. The program has a catalog or main menu section, an analysis section, and a data section. In the catalog section, we'll go in quickly and just give you an idea. We can handle, or the program supports data from several different sources.
4 megabyte floppy drive, and there is an optional 40 megabyte hard drive.
It does offer computer users an edge in what can sometimes be a bumpy ride along Wall Street.
Joining us in the studio now is John Dutra, Vice
Robbie. The correct answer was?
Gort.
But people still do most of the data entry. Optical character readers can handle some forms like single-page returns. All NuBus cards work with all other NuBus cards, and all are interchangeable in all of the slots.
Starting with software to take advantage of color. Adobe demonstrated its color version of Illustrator called Illustrator 88.
IBM and its MACD over 200 days, which is fairly good.
Okay, now again, were you...
You can very quickly go to a training function here and train it on your handwriting once again, and it will become better and better.
Everything in here, never really worry about the disk drive, and of course it reduces your battery drain and so on. Rechargeable batteries, very nice little machine, 4-pound laptop, it does everything.
Really consists of 4 main sections. First of all, it's a display card, and it carries the Amiga past 4096 colors, so you can display really millions of colors on the screen at once with more resolution. And certain Amiga software packages can already take advantage of that increased resolution and color. Second, it's a frame grabber or a video digitizer, so it can grab frames from a VCR or a camera 60 times a second in full color. You can use that all by itself to capture frames for
you know, it's very important, as we thought, to have the OS2 capabilities across all the systems in the industry, and that's why we worked with Microsoft to provide the standard edition of OS2. But we also wanted to provide IBM enhancements to it to make it communicate better with our own systems and to put a systems application architecture standard across our hardware and make that work better than any in the industry, and that's why we did Extended Edition. Extended Edition does not preclude anyone from running their own communications or database management system on the Extended Edition or on the Standard Edition.
Lee, thanks.
Holes where they used to be. And as soon as my image appears, and you can see that's a very complicated graphic, but it goes quite quickly. Let's go to text, and in this case, I'm going to pick a slightly smaller text size.
We've tested all of the top programs from the very beginning right up to today. We've now got 70 programs in extended test file. We believe we test this product more rigorously than any computer vendor tests a hardware PC.
Adams, thank you very much. Now we know about the music and graphics capabilities of the Amiga. There are also scientific applications on the Amiga. Wendy Woods has a report from the Smith Kettlewell Eye Research Foundation in San Francisco.
Now you see it, now you don't. The letter E vanishes when the motion stops.
It's actually quite simple. We have a lot of 1, 2, 3 compatibility features built in, including things like 1, 2, 3 help, so that if you type the 1, 2, 3 command, you'll get the appropriate Excel command.
I think it's probably worthwhile also mentioning it.
Brightness, and in this case I'm tweaking contrast. I've gone to the highest contrast so we can now...
The Serbi Corporation presented its entry to the CAD market called Conception 3D.
The expression paperless office was once just a dream at this IRS service center.
We're compatible with many scanners. We're compatible with Hewlett-Packard, Chinon, and Princeton Graphics, as well as a few others. You don't really need a scanner for most transmissions. Basically what you need is what you're inputting into the computer through your word processor.
Okay, so
The FCC says that 75% of PCs recently tested failed to meet radio interference standards, despite the fact that the models had earlier gotten FCC approval. The commission says manufacturers submit so-called lab queens to the FCC, which are okay, but they then proceed to crank out production models which don't meet the standards.
The mouse over to Marian there, and I want to ask you, you said this new version of Excel has features which take advantage of the Mac 2. Can you also run this on a Mac SE, etc., and have some extra benefit from it too in terms of the graphics?
Oh, so breaking the code.
Breaking the code? Breaking the code is correct.
What is the name of the data compression feature that is used in Microsoft's new version of DOS 6.0? An answer from the Captain Mitch.
Yes.
West Coast, Goldberg.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah, the types of complexity in drawings that you can do. Here's a rendering of a desert.
The fact that computers, PCs, can now handle real-world images, and we can integrate these images into real-world applications.
And picture power then works, or 2.5 times as much as a standard Mac 2 display. Aimed at desktop publishing and CAD users, the eMachine monitors can display documents at their full height and actual size.
This is an existing AT bus, and we see if we open a window here, we're running a standard application. This is DBase, and we see how fast it's scrolling. If we now open up
library, Wall Street reports, at-home shopping, airline reservations, games, and hundreds of other services.
Now we're transcribing 100% of the tax, well, not 100. We're transcribing about 95% of the tax returns using key-to-disk systems. One of the things we'd like to do is get 50% of those returns filed electronically.
Well, this relates to disk scanners, obviously.
The scanners have become important, and all of the vendors that we're talking about, Data Copy, perhaps the oldest amongst them, have migrated from the PC community onto the Macintosh because of the rapid development of desktop publishing. More recently, things such as 8-bit scanners that we're going to see today are really key for desktop publishing because of their importance in halftone printing.
Or 286 or 386, but that interface that Excel uses is going to be the standard interface for OS/2 presentation managers. So the investment that a user makes learning Excel will pay off over time in lots of different applications.
Jan, I want to ask.
Of course, we feature really the players in the Macintosh market. Danny Goodman writing Organizing Your Life with HyperCard, and Ted Nelson doing a study column on how he invented the word hypertext.
So you don't think HyperCard...
This is Gary Kildall. Gary, I'm playing a game called Interceptor here from Electronic Arts. It's a new F-18 flight simulation game.
Real stock market results. While that's running, what I'll do is reduce this down to a window, and I'm going to go back now and start up the executive and go in and load up Microsoft Word. This is a standard DOS application.
About 150 complex relationships to form a financial model for my company. That would have taken a long time before
How about the graph of this?
How do you manage all these images once you get them inside your computer or into some file?
And how to use them with databases.
Yeah.
Exactly. What we're trying to do is take advantage.
Keith, that does bring up a question, though, about expansion as chassis in general. Is if I want to put in standard IBM boards, how do I handle that?
Right, we have another card just about like this one. It's a lot, yet it gives the right information.
Absolutely.
Steve, from a consumer's point of view now, should somebody go out and buy a CD-ROM drive now? Does it make sense? An EGA-based package to create and manipulate three-dimensional objects. The user can generate a 3D object after entering different elevations and specifying the 3D view corresponding to the drawing. Conception 3D is available in both MS-DOS and Unix versions. Okay. All right, so the score here in the middle of round 2 is...
Quad Mosaic, and then it's kind of a kaleidoscope effect there.
The Pentagon says it has organized an antivirus SWAT team to combat computer viruses which threaten Defense Department computers. The group is called CERT, for Computer Emergency Response Team. It consists of 100 top computer experts and investigators. Headquarters for CERT will be at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh.
We'll see that. That's one of the other wraps. Nobody really understands it can get the benefit of MCA right now.
Well, ray tracing capability, and ray tracing allows you to do these highlights, shadows, and also transparencies and multiple reflections using these.
The question, what about hard copy? We have to make transparencies, slides. How do you handle those problems?
To start is to in fact search by picture. This opens a picture list that a user can then scroll down and access a picture either by opening using the open button.
Now, published by Doubleday, and the title is simply Gate.
Are not as reliable as a direct connect. So thus, there's a problem there, and we have two solutions. This is
Professor Ray Levitt is teaching students to develop new applications using expert system shells.
we see
MS-DOS or OS/2 diskettes, Macintosh diskettes, or Apple II Pro-DOS.
An Amiga can be used for professional animation. What does an Amiga do for you as a musician?
Well,
The Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by McGraw-Hill, publishers of Byte Magazine, and Bix, the Byte Information Exchange. In print and online, Byte and Bix serve computer professionals worldwide with detailed information on new hardware, software, and technologies.
Screening the must is to basically make a separation between those that must be included in whatever alternative you finally select.
Gone away and
How about
it's
speed
inside.
improvements? Is it a faster processor?
Yes, what we have done is we have a custom accelerator chip that is in the C+, and what it does is help perform a 4 megahertz operation function for the user.
Director of the Graphics Product Division for Lotus, and next to Tim is Tess Reynolds, Group Product Manager with Software Publishing.
Tim,
The venture capital firm Venrock Associates, investors in Apple and Intel. Bill Poduska, chairman and CEO of Stellar Computer. The captain of the East Coast team is Dick Schaefer, editor-publisher of the Technologic Computer Letter.
and then what is the average transmission time then for a 4,800 baud piece of paper?
For a page of text, it takes about a minute.
Okay, Jen, just
4 megabytes of RAM and an 80 megabyte hard disk is recommended to start with, not to mention a color printer and scanner.
The Macintosh II, and most importantly, is the first Apple product to read and write to the IBM MS-DOS format.
Tell us what EISA is. What does it stand for?
EISA stands for Enhanced Industry Standard Architecture, and what it is it's a natural evolution of the AT bus into the 32-bit realm. So for example, we went from a PC to an AT, now we've gone from an AT into EISA.
And now who's supporting this?
And just how to get around. You'll notice this student is using the video disc by touching the screen. This touch screen was chosen for the program basically because it's easy to use.
Perfect.
So do you have options as far as printing the documents out then?
Yes, you can print to most laser printers and most dot matrix printers. Anything.
Bob, that I mean, we're talking about yet this other standard, and it really doesn't exist like so many other things we hear about.
I don't think so, because number one,
over modems, is that correct?
Yeah, there's about 2 or 3 bulletin board or BBSs log on.
Are those bulletin boards run by C64 sometimes or not?
Generally on another machine, but they might have Commodore 64 database and downloads, uploads.
Hey, Lucy.
Another important add-in is See More, a program which allows...
And it only takes up 1,000 bytes of memory, which in a laptop is a critical circumstance. Now, you've got a desk full of floppies, I've got a desk full of floppies, everybody's got a... To get lewd, you must be over 21. If you say you're 13 and then change your mind and say you're 21, it responds like this.
We added to the line with the original 2C, if you wanted 3...
Is it more than just a draw program?
CAD is designed for objects and the manipulation of objects through various conditions. The draw program is designed for a static production. As well, with the CAD programs, you need to have access over every one of these little bits, the way you were doing a few minutes ago. And draw programs, you don't need that.
Points in here.
The crowd in the background here. Yeah. Kelly, is Skater Die available on any machine other than the Commodore 64?
No.
Which is cheaper, not quite the same quality level.
Yeah, of course, the laser jet.
Adam, your turn. You're not going to tell them the right answer? The answer is the obfuscated C contest. Not Windows.
The adventure game King's Quest was originally written for a particular computer. The game outlived the computer.
John, can I ask you to unload your program there and
Sure.
slide the keyboard as soon as you're finished there over to Elizabeth? And Elizabeth, while you're getting your program up and running, what's the cost of something like Fundamental Investor?
Okay, the Fundamental Investor.
Computers, yet people are still buying them. People are writing new software for it. How come?
Well, Stuart, as you know.
Things you do with Koala?
Sure, let me load this Koala Painter in. Okay.
Well, for one thing, a mouse requires a free area on your desk to operate. And secondly, you're usually performing some sort of operation on the keyboard and then reaching for the mouse. That involves a lot of lost time. So if you can bring that all into one package, it'll make for more efficient input.
Okay, Vic.
Or say adding on a hard disk drive along with a controller card.
Resellers are also called value-added because they generally supply service and training, further minimizing the confusion a first-time CAD buyer can face. Are prepared for anything, even Black Monday.
Also, iOmega Corporation says it is coming out with a new Bernoulli box for the Macintosh. The Mac Bernoulli includes software that will let a Mac read files from a Bernoulli cartridge that was created on an IBM PC.
I think Quattro's got some limitations in that it's not perfectly 1-2-3 compatible. And if your business requires that you use a 1-2-3 template, I'd be a little bit leery about using it. Its great advantage is it's much cheaper than either Excel or 1-2-3. Also, it has a fantastic macro debugger. It's got a way to rebuild your spreadsheet if it breaks down. It's got some good advantages. As far as its comparison with Excel is concerned, you shouldn't overlook the
Well, the difficulty with trying to make those run in a multitasking environment is you've got to detect those go-arounds, make sure you simulate the environment properly so that they don't destroy one another in the process.
Right.
Okay.
Because you can take advantage of economy phone rates and send at whatever time is most advantageous to you.
The program allows you to zoom around an image so you can look at the actual details. Right now I've zoomed in.
Joining us now for the rest of the show in Gary's place is George Morrow.
Steve, CD-ROM Review is about the first publication to address the interaction of PCs and the CD-ROMs. How old is it, and who do you focus on for your readers?
The first of the regular.
What is this?
Well, the mouse takes up a lot of space on the desk. I basically agree with Dan. And in addition, there's no relationship between the mouse and the screen. The mouse has serious maintenance problems, as we've all encountered with our Macintoshes, having to clean the lint out of it on occasion. And in addition, the mouse doesn't have a natural relationship with the screen itself.
Okay, now tell us.
For Macintosh users, the program of choice is the Wall Street Investor.
Is MCA, is that considered a proprietary architecture? In other words, can other manufacturers use that?
And we can take a look at that. The purpose of this is to give a weight and value to the want objective.
The company introduced a steno machine to PC interpreter that automatically translates a stenographer's marks into English and displays it instantly on a screen.
Here is that file, and let's pop into Always. Now, I have previously formatted this worksheet, but I've left a couple of rows available.
Imagination is a big part of the appeal of these games. Players can take on identities of their alter egos. In response, the program will determine the feasibility and probable cost of making the structure safe. If the user needs more information or does not understand a query, he can call up an explanation screen.
The user is interacting with a knowledge-based system.
Thank you very much. Now, if you really want to use your graphics in a serious way, you not only want color, maybe you want 3 dimensions, maybe you'd also like to animate it and put it on video. Well, one product that does that is called Picture Maker from Cubicomp. Wendy Woods has a report.
This is an educational video designed to teach high school students the way banks make money. No, it wasn't made by a high-tech production house in LA. It was made by the people it's about, the Federal Reserve Bank. The Apple II series appears to be headed in a different direction from the company's most powerful and expensive computer, the Macintosh. This subway station and this amusement park ride don't really exist yet, except in the memory of this computer. But common to all of these designs is a level of detail and realism. And the word processor that many researchers use is a shareware program called PC Write.
We have a lot of people. 23 companies transfer them to the communications function, download additional information, update them every day, have the equations recalculated, go do the charts on them in the charting if you've had that, and so on, basically.
That if we had not done anything to modernize facilities, we would have run out of space in terms of the number of manual cases required to process mail. That's essentially a need not only in terms of volume of mail that we had to process, but also the cost for doing business in terms of that processing environment.
As a golfer, do you find it satisfying to play the game that way?
I find it very simple, and people who don't even really play golf also enjoy playing it too.
Well,
I've heard Lotus criticized now because of its plain old character output, and what's your response to that? Is it just an old character-based application?
Different stocks that are just picked out by your criteria?
Yes. You can do it on any company in the database, whether or not it just met your criteria. If you just want to go in and look at one particular company, you would go to this part. Okay. If you want
with 800 by 600 resolution, you're able to get that much more information on the screen, and as always, that helps in your editing capabilities. Now we'll turn.
Okay, it's close. It's the East Coast 100, the West Coast 95.
We felt it was necessary to accomplish with this program was to make it easy to use. Therefore, it's compatible with most word processing programs, and in fact can change word processing programs into fax files automatically. What you saw me do is all you need to do in order to send a fax from any word processing file.
Now, it's a basic technology. We're dealing with a group.
Apply it to the frame, and there's the arrow. There are several drawing tools. In fact, the drawing tools are very comprehensive and in color, with specialized tools for doing the types of flow diagrams and charts that you would find in a presentation.
What about importing graphics? Very expensive. You hadn't buy broadcast quality kind of material. Yeah.
There are a lot of creative new devices I see around the show. They tend to be devices looking for a problem, and at some point in time there will be problems and solutions that will be married together. Our approach is we sell keyboards. Keyboards, we have been told, are a problem because there are a lot of keyboard illiteracy. Our purpose is to bring literacy into the data entry marketplace through the use of a handheld device.
Well, Stuart, I don't think it's so much confusion as really the wide variety of applications that we're seeing personal computers being applied to nowadays. 10, 15 years ago, there were only a few applications, like maybe accounting packages, word processing, things like that. But now we see games, home computers, office computers, all the way up to scientific workstations that can be considered personal computers. We also see another thing we've inherited from the mini and mainframe industry, and that's having a vendor have a vested interest in not having standards applied to the whole industry. For example, Apple, Macintosh, and things like that.
A lot of people think it's getting a job done in 6 hours instead of 8. But the real benefit is that instead of taking 20 seconds for some change, it takes you 3 or 4 seconds. That means that you don't lose your train of thought. You'll try things you wouldn't try otherwise. You'll experiment a little bit, so you'll do a better job.
So it's really speed of...
Well, ho, ho, ho. Richard Dalton of Keep Track Corporation, as usual, helped me pick the stuff that I wanted to...
For those who are more concerned with data transmission than data storage, GammaLink offered a group of products for scanning and sending documents.
Faster to work with the program. But we've as well put in other features to make it easier for the user to work with the program. For example, in this case, I miss Australia. I've already drawn this previously. Now, if I want to look through my old documents, I can just open them as a library, and that way find those objects listed by name, and I can simply retrieve them by clicking on the object and then copying and pasting it into my document.
So you were just pulling.
Not surprisingly, the popularity of color monitors has led to a healthy increase in the number of color printers and scanners. And Fall Comdex had a good selection of both.
Oh, it's definitely an Apple II, and it runs all the Apple II software that's available.
Can you show us what it looks like, what you're working with?
Sure.
You sort of just turn the graph around, or the
Correct, and that's the real power of a decision.
Have you identified the customer base now? Obviously you have over the past 2 years. Who buys the GS?
From what 2 words?
East Coast, K-Port.
Modulator, demodulator.
That's right.
Here's a 4-part question, four questions actually, about computers in the movies. First, in what Disney movie do the main characters live inside?
When the Macintosh was introduced back in 1984, it was clearly a different machine than the one we have today. Now, with color, more power, and open architecture, the Macintosh has clearly captured the public imagination, as well as their pocketbook. At the Macworld Expo in San Francisco for the Computer Chronicles, I'm Wendy Woods. Whether those needs be to design a building, a widget, or even a printed circuit board.
Do. A, drop out of Harvard. B, program the PDP.
Have built in a feature in this application which is actually under Place called Mark Place, which enables teachers to create their own custom tours of material on the disk, both audio and images and
So you
text.
don't need hypertext, you have it built in.
We have levels of hypertext, yes, built in. We've also created a drill and practice module which enables us to, in fact, go ahead and link any pictures from the data.
For 10 points, at what trade show was VisiCard?
Data movement between individual cards or between the card and the CPU itself. The other.
A bit of a trick question.
What was the only personal computer to be named after the state in which it was produced?
What is it that they have in common?
Jerry Kaplan of the West.
If we wanted to. Now, if we hit the F2 key, we will split the screen between text and graphics horizontally.
Stackworks has announced the availability of HyperCard tax stacks for Mac users. They're being offered as shareware on CompuServe and a few other networks. Tax stacks are available for most IRS forms, tables, and worksheets. Sharefare fees range between $10 and $20.
Data General.
I'm sorry, that's wrong. Correct answer is?
Correct answer is Borland in Scotts Valley, California.
Borland?
Is that a computer company?
Sure, the Wine Steward is a program that's designed to help people who are unfamiliar with purchasing wines to be able to make a choice based on the food that they're going to have for dinner.
Okay, and this was written for the 64, and it's used in supermarkets, I understand.
That's correct, yes.
Show us how you...
And when they are visible, it's usually as terminals. In fact, the agency sees a limited role for the PC, either inside or outside the center.
Computer.
What
do you have here? Anyway?
We brought, Gary, part of the Austin lab here to the show tonight so we can show you all the things that OS2 does. And we've got 2 Model 60s, both running OS2, and a monitor on one and monitor on the other. And then we've got some communications control units back to...
Even if that happens, he recommends against counting too much.
Before you do business in a foreign language, you may want to adapt your computer keyboard. At least that's what Genest Technologies hopes.
It looks like a
Sure. In fact, what you can see is that regardless of what the...
And is general manager of the fax division at Quadrum, and they're based in Norcross, Georgia.
Stuart, you know, facsimile transmissions are becoming...
Which the company claims is the first universal document reader. Cognicar can interpret multiple font documents.
Good enough at it to actually show you how things work on it. It's the mouse control is very curious. I just blew myself up there.
What do you do?
Part of the demonstration.
What's the game about?
The game is you're consuming all of these power crystals And in fact, if you can catch up with that diamond there, it's worth tens of thousands of points. It's your basic, you know, shooting things, eating things, and then going out the hole at the bottom. Except that, of course, I just wiped myself out.
It's Fortran.
Fortran is correct.
John McCarthy.
Something you would like for Christmas. This is the new compact 286 SLT laptop. Runs on batteries, 3 hours worth, beautiful.
Updating of the spreadsheet. I can go beyond that and say, please give me a graph of this information. So Excel will now take that information and make some assumptions about its format and will give me a graph. Don't pick up the phone and call anybody. This is just a simulation. These are not...
And why does the Federal Reserve District need animation? Well, as part of the federal government...
Triax, triax, quadrax, or pentax?
Which is the right name? Okay, Alan Hanover.
No. Time's up.
The West Coast, want to try that?
Firmware.
Okay.
Holds the record for being on the PC Vaporware list for the longest time, 4 years and 2 months. What program holds this dubious distinction? Was it Lotus 123 for the Macintosh, Microsoft Windows, DBase 4, or OS 2?
All right, which of those was longest? All right, we have an answer from Jean-Louis Gasset.
Really good software being written for the Amiga, so that situation may change.
Okay, Gary, we're going to take a look at the new Amiga 500 and the Amiga 2000, and we'll see some of the new exciting software that is being written for the Amiga. We're going to begin by going to Oakland, California, and taking a look at a man who uses an Amiga plus DigiView and Deluxe Paint to make a living as a professional photographer and designer.
Larry Keenan is a San Francisco photographer who has added the Amiga to his collection of photographic equipment. Working with a video...
We're seeing it used in television production environment as well. It's a very, very important part of our business.
Part of the orientation process will take place here, at a computer running an interactive video disc. Students will learn the kind of courses available, how to plan out their program.
You could write, record, and playback some semi-serious music with the AdLib personal computer music system, $250 from AdLib Incorporated of Boston. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler.
A graphic display. Here we have some letters we generated with our...
Looking for clues. This game is a simulation of what CDI, or Compact Disc Interactive, is supposed to do. Using a trackball...
Here's your coffee, Mr. Schindler.
Thank you very much. In the movies, they call that person a gopher. Whatever you need, they run and get it. Now, there's a computer analogy which goes, interestingly enough, by the name gopher. In this world of 40 megabyte disks, it becomes increasingly more difficult to find something you wrote months, weeks, or even days ago. There are lots of indexing programs on the market, but they tend to be awkward and space-consuming. Now there's Gopher.
Graphs and charts can be moved anywhere on the screen by dragging them with the mouse. At least in the eyes of its owners, hasn't always been evident, as Apple President John Sculley admits.
All you have to know is the numbers. It knows the rules.
Okay, that's great. Okay, in just a minute, we'll see two of the top-rated tax programs for the IBM PC. But first, you know, many people are going to professional tax preparers this year to do their returns, but you'll find increasingly they're using computers and the same tax preparation software. Wendy Woods has a report.
For the first time this tax year, Bob Smith, a veteran tax preparer, is using a computerized program to do the planning and preparation for his clients' tax returns.
Well, again, there was a small subdivision, the laser printers, Apple's announcement, and GCC for a product line of laser printers. We had the color monitors.
Came up with something called Battery Watch. It's a simple disc, and what happens is it'll...
Well, I think in many ways that Apple II users have felt abandoned by Apple because they haven't heard many messages from the top people in our organization to give them encouragement that the Apple II was important. And to be perfectly honest, this was a very conscious direction on our part as we were trying to convince business users that Apple wasn't in the home computer business only, that we were also able to provide very powerful business workstations without...
All right, this is a toss-up question. For 10 points, the letters in most software languages form acronyms.
My name is Chris Morgan. And you know, there's always been a friendly rivalry of sorts, sometimes not so friendly, between the computer people on the East Coast and the ones on the West Coast. But which group really has the sharpest computer experts? We'll try to answer that.
Very quickly, I'm already building my frame. Now, in here...
Excuse me, default...